I do these videos in the hopes that maybe one day I'll break through to somebody. But politics is a fascinating psychological thing to me, because you need to make sure that before you accuse somebody else of being in a cult, you're not in a cult yourself. And before we go over this is Dave Pakman. I don't even know if I've discussed Dave Pakman on my show or not, but it's amazing how willing people are to proclaim that somebody else in another party or following another politician is in a cult, but the people lodging the accusations are in another party following another personality in another cult. We're going to watch this. The name of this is Wow Buttigieg. That's Pete Buttigieg. Crushes Fox interview, tells MAGA it's a cult. Inherent within the political paradigm and the political spectrum is the fact that people are just believers. Are you a Democrat? You're a believer in your Democrat policies and your Democrat personalities. Are you a Republican? Then you're a believer in your Republican policies and your Republican personalities. But that's what you are. You're believers. It's no different than being a believer in a religion. And other religions, like let's say Christianity, in Protestant Christianity, they say that Roman Catholicism is a cult. Christianity in general, whether Catholic or Protestant, says that if you're a Muslim, you're in a cult. Or if you're, even if it's an offshoot of Christianity, if you're a Mormon, you're in a cult. If you're in a Jehovah's Witness, you're in a cult. It's kind of like going to a Mormon church and saying, hey, what do you think about those people in the Jehovah's Witness? Oh, yeah, they're in a cult. You go to the Jehovah's Witness. So what do you think about the Mormon church? Oh, yeah, they're definitely in a cult. It is the rare person who's a part of a cult who doesn't see or sees that he is in a cult himself. Matter of fact, cultists don't believe that they're in a cult. And if you want a definition for it, a misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. Think about that. Misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. What underpins the state? What underpins all of politics? Politics is 100% from top to bottom, left and right, 100% bullshit. There's not one nanoparticle of politics that is not bullshit. It's dependent, its fulcrum balances and hinges on a lie. An absolute lie, deception, deceptive practices, deceptive personalities. That's what politics is. It is the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and demanding the chains of their own enslavement. The health of the state is deception. The health of the state is force and violence and coercion and theft. That's what gives it life. So when you participate in that, you are literally a cult member who doesn't even know what's going on in his own organization. And when you want to talk about misplaced or excessive admiration, I would say that giving $200 million to a cultish personality like Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, because he collected a lot of money too, I would say that's excessive, wouldn't you? I would say that's misplaced or excessive admiration to come off of $200 million in 1 week. They say in the first day it was 81 million. That's excessive. That's misplaced admiration. So we're going to get with this. It's just hilarious to me. So with that as the backdrop, let's take a look at what Dave Pakman says as he stokes and fans the flame of this cult tribal mentality on his side.
Sunday, these clips going viral, and for good reason. He's doing 3, 4, maybe even 5 critical things when talking to MAGA, not the least of which is telling them, hey, by the way, you are in a cult, which is a great thing. It's
a great thing for a cult member to tell other people that they're in a cult. That's a great thing. Great job, Dave.
Look at clip number 1.
Like let's define the term, Dave. Dave, if you're watching this video, define the term cult. Because I bet you anything, whatever term you define, Pete Buttigieg is in that. So that means you're a hypocrite. That means Pete Buttigieg is a hypocrite. That means Donald Trump and anybody who calls the other side a cult, that means they're engaged in hypocrisy and they can't be trusted. And this whole thing is a freaking sideshow.
We're going to talk about all the different things that he's doing. This, of course, is the sort of performance that makes him a front runner in the minds of many on the left as a potential VP candidate, maybe someday as president. We don't know whether he's being considered. We don't know about the strategic virtue of two people from the same administration necessarily on the ticket. These are all separate questions. But this is exactly the sort of thing that Pete Buttigieg can do, which makes him such a good possible VP or presidential contender.
And was she aware of how he was doing?
We're all aware of how he's doing. Our country has watched our president lead. And yes, we've also seen the fact that he's 10 years older than he was 10 years ago. But unlike Republicans, right, who
That's a little disingenuous. He's not just 10. There's some people who are 10 years older, but they haven't mentally declined. And they don't mention any of that stuff. That's extremely disingenuous. Come on. He's talking about Biden here.
Trump's personality cult will take a look at Donald Trump and say he's perfectly fine, even though he seemed unable to tell the difference between Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi, even though he's rambling about electrocuting sharks and Hannibal Lecter, even though he is clearly older and stranger than he was when America first got to know him.
Yeah, that's fair criticism, to which MAGA seems to be blind to. I mean, that's fair. But when you're immersed in one side or the other, of course, you're going to be blind to the faults of your leader. The Democrats are blind to the faults of their leader. The Republicans are blind to the faults of their leader. And it makes them inherently biased. And when you're biased, you're in your own echo chamber. When you're in your own echo chamber and you've got Stockholm syndrome, like all people who are involved in politics have, then you can't be objective. You can't be unbiased. You can't be not a hypocrite. You're going to be a hypocrite. You're engaging in hypocrisy when you criticize the other side for doing the same things that you're doing. When you criticize the other guy for doing the same thing your guy's doing. People, they don't see that because they can't see it because they're involved in it.
They say he's strong as an ox, leaps tall buildings in a single bound.
Well,
we don't have that kind of warped reality on our side.
Well,
That's a lie. Pakman's not going to call this out, though. They do have that warped reality on their other side. Prior to all this stuff coming out in the last couple of weeks and Biden stepping down and Harris taking the forefront, nobody was saying anything. Everybody was pushing it all under the rug. The Democrats were like, let's dog Donald Trump. Let's forget about what Biden's doing. God, he looks like he's losing it, man. What's going on?
On the contrary, the president confronted that reality in what must have been one of the most difficult decisions for an American president to make ever.
Look at Pakman.
He did something that I don't think Donald Trump could even conceive of doing, which is putting his own interests aside for the country.
Yeah, that's what Joe Biden did, and that's what politicians do, right? They put aside their own interests. They're not selfish. They don't want the ring of power. They want to step down. One day prior to him stepping down, he's like, I'm not going to step down. Everybody's like, you're stabbing us in the back, dude. So obviously somebody made you step down. It wasn't because Joe Biden was like, you know what? I'm a sacrificial human being. I love America more than I love myself or my power or my prestige or my record. I'm going to go ahead and step down because I'm such a nice guy. Look at me. Come on, man. I'm a nice guy.
There are so many important things there. Number one, squeezing the word cult into the discussion of MAGA on Fox News is a great thing. It's not a big thing, but it's a great thing because it gets it into the ecosystem.
It's a disingenuous thing, Dave, and you know it is. You need to come clean. I'm sick of all these people with these political platforms. This guy has he's going on 2.5 million subscribers. This guy's got billions of views. Midas Touch has billions of views. Brian Tyler Cohen, billions of views. On the other side of it, you got Brandon Tatum, billions of views. Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro. They can't be honest because their paycheck depends on them not being honest and supporting their own side no matter what. I can't betray my own side no matter how hypocritical and corrupt and parasitic it is. They can't be honest. They can't come to the grips with the fact that they are part of the disturbing illusion.
Number two, pointing out to the Fox News audience, Trump's brain seems to be melting. Trump's mistaking people. He's doing these deranged rants at rallies, so on and so forth. That's number 2. Number 3.
That is true. That is true. Trump is, oh my God. Watch the last 3 90-minute rants in his rallies. Even the people behind him look bored out of their skulls. He's saying the same old thing. He is bringing up the electric boat and falling into the ocean, and I'd rather be electrocuted than eaten by a shark, and Hannibal Lecter. Dude is freaking off of his rocker, and people love it. They love it. And they are willing to ignore the insanity. Why? Because that's our team, man. You don't say anything bad about your team.
Pointing out that there is a media distortion here as well, where, hey, if you're not hearing that Trump is doing these things, maybe you should question why you're getting your news here, because they don't seem to be telling you about that.
I'm going to increase the speed right here. Maybe, let's see, 1.5. If it's too fast, I'll slow it down.
For the use of the Trump is weird and strange thing, it's whether you like, there's this whole thing now about how Kamala Harris and others in the Democratic Party are saying Trump's really weird, Vance is really weird. It's weird behavior. And it's not the most earth-shattering approach to the campaign, but it's showing that the left is completely united right now. Joe Biden has said it's not going to be me. The delegates and the money have come in behind Kamala Harris.
It's not an earth-shattering thing, but hey, we're united on a non-earth-shattering thing, something that's not even substantive. We're united on, let's call the other side weird. How logical, Dave. What a sound argument. Good job, Dave. And this is popular, guys. He just released this 2 hours ago, a little over 2 hours ago, 133,000 views, 134,000 views now.
We think Trump and Vance are weird, and you hear Pete saying it and you hear others saying it. It's just a reminder as to the united nature right now of the Democratic Party. And number 5, not allowing the host, I believe that's Shannon Bream, although don't hold me to it, not allowing the host to interrupt the points that he's trying to make, all in 60 seconds. This is really, really good stuff. Let's take a look at the next clip here. And this is on the topic of all of the broken promises of Donald Trump and the idea that it doesn't really matter what he says he's going to do. He's not going to do any of it.
The most, whether we're talking about choice and her stance on defending a woman's right to choose.
And that's rare. It's rare for a politician to make promises and not make good on those promises. That's a rare thing. That's what politicians are known for. They're known for flapping their gums and then not backing up with actions what their words have said. Everybody knows this. Come on. Why is anybody surprised about this?
Versus Donald Trump, who eliminated the right to choose in this country.
Well, he sent it back to the states, to be fair.
Let's be very clear. He is proud of the fact that he demolished the national right to choose in this country, period.
Hey, who cares? Who cares? You don't care about the right to choose. I want a right to choose a rifle without government interference. I want a right to choose an AK-47 or AR-15. I want the right to choose a fully automatic, what you would call an assault rifle, but you won't let me choose that. So if somebody else says, okay, you won't let us choose that, then you don't get to choose what to do with your body. Besides that, does anybody have the right to choose what to do with their body? Try to go from California to, say, Colorado with 20 pounds of MJ in your trunk. Ain't gonna they catch you, you're going down. You didn't have the right to choose, did you? And yet Democrats and Republicans are for certain things that don't allow, as though there are governmental overlords, they don't allow you to choose. So here's Pete Buttigieg going, he eliminated the right to choose. Well, you eliminate the right to choose all the time. That's what government does. Government limits your right to choose. It limits your right to compete in the free market. As a matter of fact, it eliminates the free market. That's what the government is good at, eliminating competition, your right to choose. Hey, what if I have the right to choose to keep 100% of everything that I earn? Oh, that's right. The government doesn't allow me to do that. Democrats don't allow me to keep 100% of what I earn. Republicans don't allow me to keep 100% of what I earn. So the right to choose. Okay. You want to play that game? We'll play that game. Dave Pakman doesn't see that though. Dave Pakman can't see that. Cenk Uygur can't see that. Kyle Kulinski can't see that because they're part of the left versus right paradigm, dog and pony smokescreen under the big top. While the performers are gone, they're in the stand selling popcorn. They've sold their souls, man. They've sold their souls. They are not walking according to principle, and they are inherently hypocritical.
But there are states that are figuring this out. I mean, there are some that are, I mean, it's nearly impossible, a 6-week ban or less. But there are others, there are states in this country that allow no restrictions up until the due date of a
There
child.
was a national right to choose in this country, law of the land, for 50 years, which the vast majority of Americans believe was the right thing to do. But Donald Trump made a promise when he was a candidate, one of the few promises he actually kept, by the way. You know, he didn't keep his promise of 6% economic growth. He didn't keep his promise
Well,
to drain the
he did have a
swamp.
pandemic to deal with.
Well, but even before the pandemic, even before the pandemic, America went into a manufacturing recession, which really hurt places like where I come from in the
This should be, I mean, this is really good. This should be studied.
industrial Midwest. But anyway, my point is, he broke his promise for that kind of economic growth. He broke his promise to pass an infrastructure bill, right? He said he would do that. He failed to do it. The Biden-Harris administration got it done. He even broke his promise to that January 6th mob when he said, I will be at your side when you march down to the Capitol. We actually did keep 2 promises. He kept his
That is true. That is true.
promise to destroy the right to choose in this country, and he kept his promise.
I mean, there's some things that he's saying are just true, but he's utterly destroying himself on everything else. And the reason she can't fight back is because she's in the paradigm lie as well. You think she's going to go? Do you think Americans have the right to choose whether to keep 100% of their income? Do you think is there any American that has the right to choose a fully automatic rifle? No, you eliminated that choice. And if they do decide to make that choice, then your government will punish them. Right to choose.
Tax cuts for the rich. And if you want to know what a second Trump term would be like, I would start by looking at those rare promises that he actually managed to keep.
He did say that he wanted to get rid of Roe v. Wade, but again, send it to the states where they are hashing this
empower
out
the
and
states to
have very
eliminate
different
women's access to abortion. And also, as you know, the Republican Party continues to be interested in a national
Which
abortion
he's
ban.
disavowed completely.
Yeah, he's disavowed a lot of things. I don't believe him.
You think
he lies all the time.
You think that his
Here's what Pete Buttigieg should say. I don't want to limit a woman's access to an abortion, but I do want to limit a woman's access to have a personal protection device, a firearm that she feels comfortable using so that she can protect herself. She can have all the access she wants to eliminate a living, a human organism inside of her, you know, however you want to put it. You know, what are those cells? Are they living cells? Yes, they are living cells. Okay. Are they animal cells? Are they chimpanzee cells? Are they plant cells? No, they're human cells. Okay. So Pete Buttigieg and those like him don't want to bar access for a woman to have the ability to eliminate living human cells inside of her, but they do want to limit that woman's access to be able to protect her body, to protect herself, to protect her family with a personal protection device, a firearm. You freaking hypocrite. You don't care. If you cared about that woman's life, you would step out of her way. You would not ask for any kind of regulations or any kind of permission slip from the government or any waiting period or any background check, which is an infringement check. And you would say, hey, your body, your choice. Choose whatever you want. RPG, fully automatic, revolver, whatever you want. You have the right to choose. Nope. No, they don't believe that. They don't believe a woman has the right to choose. They're playing politics. They're playing with people's feelings. They're deceiving the masses. They're deceiving themselves. And you don't see any political pundit on the right or the left talking about this stuff. It's like, okay, wait a second. Let's be consistent. Let's not be hypocrites. You don't want a woman to choose, to be able to choose to have a fully automatic firearm without government involvement, you know, and a government permission slip, and in some cases just outright ban it. So you're okay with limiting their choice over here, but you're not okay with limiting the choice over there. Do you see the hypocrisy, Buttigieg? Do you see the hypocrisy, Ted Cruz or whoever? But they can't do it because corporate media is in bed with politics, and they have to play the left versus right paradigm lie because that's what makes money. You have to have a protagonist, you have an antagonist, or the story doesn't work.
Pledge that he would not pass a national ban is one that...
It's one that's going to go down with most of the promises that he's made in.
Yeah, this is absolutely excellent. This is really, really, really good. And the way you know that it's getting good is that the host starts kind of going, okay, got it. Thank you for your insights. I am no longer able to actually rebut what you're saying with any of my flaccid talking points. So
Dave, you're so shallow. You're so shallow and you think you're so right. And hey, you're so popular and you get so many views and you're making so much money. Why? Because it's easier to deceive the masses than to convince them that they've been deceived. So congratulations. You're deceiving the masses and you're very successful at it. Just as many on this platform and many other platforms are.
Thank you so much for providing us your perspective. That's a pivot that you see when it's not going well. Now, I want to play one more clip of this, and here is Pete Buttigieg talking about the crime numbers.
Was for it, the head of the CBP union was for it, and then Trump swooped in to kill it. Not because he thought it was bad policy, but because he didn't want that issue to get better, because if it got worse, it would be better for him politically.
And I'll ask Senator Johnson about that, because there were a number of provisions that Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, ended up in the final product, felt there was something they could not vote for there, and they could not move forward.
Okay, come on, we know why they didn't move forward. They moved forward because Donald Trump swooped in. He said, I don't want Joe Biden to get a win.
That it was a flawed piece of legislation that had too many loopholes and other things they couldn't support. This is how Washington Post, this is how they describe the border situation. Illegal border crossing soared in the months after Biden took office and immediately rolled back many Trump-era restrictions. They go on to say the number of people taken into custody by the U.S. Border Patrol has reached the highest levels in the agency's 100-year history under Biden, averaging 2 million per year. And there's a lot of that attributed to the fact that there were dozens of things done under the Trump administration that this administration rolled back. And Vice President Harris is part of this administration and had a leading role, according to mainstream media, on handling the border.
Let's get real. Border crossings are down in the wake of President Biden's executive actions that he took after Congress failed to act.
So he could have taken action.
He wanted Congress to resolve that because that would have been more durable. But when Trump came in, talked Republicans out of their own bipartisan project because he didn't want the issue to get better. Remember,
yes,
the worse things are at the border, the better things get for Donald Trump. So he has a vested interest in it remaining chaotic down there. I think this also helps to explain.
Can't you say that about every single politician? The worse conditions are, the better it is for the politician who's in control or who wants the control, because it's the Hegelian dialectic. There's got to be a problem so that there can be the fear-based reaction, so they can look at us, the political sphere, the political sector, the political class, so we can energize and engage the law enforcement class to go and do our bidding. But first, we have to foment fear. We have to get the people to go, oh my God, the politicians have to save us, Republican, Democrat, I don't care. Oh my gosh, can we get bipartisan support on this? What he's saying is true about, Trump does better when the border is wide open and is doing bad because it gives him another talking point. Hey, do you want a closed border? Do you want safe border states? Then vote for me. Do you want better gas prices? Or, come on, man, you want better gas prices? Vote for me. You want better, paid family medical leave? Vote for Kamala Harris. The worse it is on those fronts. Do you want $35 insulin shots? Then come to the Democrats. It works. I mean, there's thousands of different avenues you can take that applies to every single one of them. And he's being a hypocrite by pointing one out and pinning it to Donald Trump when another 10 can be applied to him and to his guy. This is cult mentality. You're hearing cult words come out of a cult member's mouth as he follows the Democrat cultists and the Democrat cult organization and picking out what the Republican cultists are doing.
Well, he didn't exactly conclusively solve it when it was his turn. But I saw something else really important happening at the Republican National Convention on the border and the talk about immigration, which we all recognize is a problem, which is they tried to paint this narrative that if you live somewhere far from the border and immigration hasn't affected you personally, you need to think that immigration is a driver of crime. That was the real message. Immigration leads to crime.
Well, there are blue state governors and mayors who say every state is a border state now. That's Democrats.
Yeah, and now they're saying, but the false message of the RNC was that this is leading to an increase in crime.
Well,
and I think it's really important that we talk about crime.
Have been very high profile, but people, if they had not been in this country illegally,
this is my
people
point,
would still be
right?
alive.
Trying to make people think that crime is up when crime is down under Joe Biden and crime was up under Donald Trump. Now, I don't know how often that gets reported on this network, so if you're watching this at home, do yourself a favor and look up the data.
Well, we invite that.
Look up the data. Look up the statistics. Why? Because there's lies. There's damn lies, and there's statistics. And then there's government manipulated statistics that we can manipulate and bend and mold. How come Democrats always have their pile of facts and Republicans always have their pile of facts, and these got their statistics and they got their polls and they got their statistics and their polls, and they never quite seem to line up, and nobody really knows what they're talking about? Because then when you go delve into the statistics, you find out that the people who conducted that poll, Politico or CNN or Pew Research, they got some kind of underlying bias. So you're never really getting all the facts because the people that are giving you the facts are far from objective.
We're not going to. We invite people at home to do it. We're certainly not going to give them the data, but we invite the people at home to do it. This is top-notch stuff. And one of the things about the last 4 years, including
but it's actually not top-notch stuff. It's bottom of the barrel stuff. It's not even in the barrel. It's in the ground under the barrel. That's how deep it is. That's how shallow this whole thing is. This whole conversation is extremely shallow because it just wants you to focus on WWE, man. That's it. You can't look past the curtain right here. WWE, you got the protagonist and the antagonist, and Pete Buttigieg says MAGA's a cult, so it must be true. That's how simple-minded Dave Pakman is being. I don't think he's a stupid guy. I don't think Sticks Hexenhammer that we covered yesterday is a stupid guy. But these guys have sold their souls to the left versus right paradigm lie. And until we get out of that, we can't be free. Stop asking the government to do things for you. Paid family medical leave. We need that. Oh my God, can you please grant us permission so that we can have a long rifle? I need high capacity. Stop asking the government for permission. You're not children, you're adults, but they want you to stay in the child safety seat in the back while they drive over the cliff every single time. Don't worry, just trust us. It'll be fine.
The 2020 primary and just more recently is we have really learned that there is a very deep bench right now in the Democratic Party. Think about the number of people who could easily step in today and be president, and it would be just like no big deal. It would obviously be a big deal to have a president change in the middle of a term. That's not what I mean. But what I mean is think about if whatever the circumstances were, we had to say, hey, we need someone to be president now. Oh, okay. Well, Kamala Harris could very much do it. Pete Buttigieg could very much do it. Gretchen Whitmer.
It's been such a we need somebody in the room that can take charge of us now. We need a president in the room now. Please, I hope that you can see this. And if you can see this, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, share it, because most people are not getting this message. CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media is in full swing, and it's pickling people's brains, and they're looking at this guy. Look at some of these comments under here. Look at this. 99.999% of the cult members are not believing any of this. Most of them are very beyond help, says a person who's probably a Democrat, which is so ironic to me. Like the saying goes, to anger a Democrat, you tell them a lie. To anger a Republican, you tell them the truth. People are immersed in this. And when I say brain pickled, I mean it.
Could do it. Josh Shapiro could do it. Gavin Newsom could do it. Tim Walz could do it. Mark Kelly could do it. J.B. Pritzker could do it. Hakeem Jeffries could do it. It's such a long list of people.
Every person he mentioned is corrupt from top to bottom.
People would be like, yeah, just let me learn what I need to do, and I'm going to be a fine president, and there's going to be no concern. There's going to be no scandal. It's just going to be kind of a calm situation. And that's just a random smattering. Meanwhile, on the right, unless they want to go back to someone that MAGA hates, Mitt Romney, I don't agree with the guy, but like he could be president, okay? Chris Christie, he could do it.
I don't agree with the guy. He's a flip-flopper and a liar, but he could be president. Yeah, presidents are liars. Presidents don't walk according to principle, because the powers that shouldn't be who own the president, and all he is at best, a CEO who has no power in this 28 USC 300215A United States means federal corporation atmosphere. That's all they are. Even their own federal codes, which I've never seen Dave Pakman talk about. 28 USC 300215A, the United States means federal corporation. Why don't they talk about that? This is a corporate entity. It's a corporate structure. They don't care about you. They only care about bleeding and fleecing you. Republican, Democrat, it scarcely matters.
But the people they think of are outrageous extremists, and there is no bench of reasonable people that could do the job. So a reminder, seeing Pete Buttigieg there, not only of the tone that Democrats need to strike, but also a reminder of why he may be in consideration to be Kamala Harris's vice presidential running mate.
Just total hypocrisy. Leave your thoughts about this. Like I said, if you like these videos, if it resonates with you, if you think what I'm talking about is the truth, or if you think it is just a bold-faced lie, and Brian, you don't know what the frick you're talking about, you damn one-trick pony, hey, leave a comment in the comment section. I like to think I'm kind of reasonable. If there's something that I'm saying that's not true, I want to know it, because I want to correct course. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance, and we all need to be vigilant. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, grab a shirt, become a channel member. I will see you guys in the next video.